You're listening to Stretch Unscripted,
the podcast where we stretch your mind,
flex your curiosity,
and keep it completely unscripted.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, Intelligent Community Initiative, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, and Catalyst Co-working.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stretched Unscripted. I'm your host, Guderian.
And I'm Zora, Szabó.
And today, we are here with Julian, Abhari, and Daniel, Marques, co-founders of Skin Check. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
So, what is one word you would use to describe your college experience that you guys had?
We're starting with the hard questions.
Or maybe like a phrase or a couple words.
Just keep moving forward.
So if you guys were freshmen again, you don't know anything about college, and you wish someone would have told you something, what would you want them to hear?
I would say one of the things that I wish I heard when I was a freshman, it was that it is encouraging and good to try new things. I would say that the thing I wish I heard really early on is that try to find out the things that you don't like, because it's really hard. It's really easy to go down a path of like doing things that you might even be good at, but like you can really quickly see that you don't like doing that type of work. That was banking for me personally. Okay. But it took me like a year and a half to really realize like, oh, okay, like I might be okay at this, but I don't really like it. But not like really succumbing to the pressures of like the major or like your environment, and really like figuring out like that college is about, of course, like seeking and understanding what you like and what you're good at. But the quicker you get to seeing what you don't like, the faster you're going to find what you're really good at and what you like, you know?
Yeah, so not being afraid to try new things.
Yeah, and I would say like the one word, I'd say just intriguing. Like my college experience was awesome and crazy at the same time, so I would say intriguing would be a good word.
Perfect. What about you, Julian?
Some advice that I know I wish I had was that it's really easy to get wrapped in on all of the pressure of college and wanting to just like be extremely hard on yourself. I wish that I had celebrated more. I wish that I had like just enjoyed more time, being a college student and just like having a lot of fun. And particularly I think like one of the biggest areas of value, especially in like a small college, is whenever you are meeting friends with people like in totally different majors and really getting to understand like a lot of the little tidbits that like stick with them, because chances are those are the trends that will, can impact your career.
Oh, I completely agree. Completely agree. So what's one thing that you wish students understood more about entrepreneurship?
I would start with it's really important for students to understand how attainable entrepreneurship is. A lot of the work that I did in undergrad and one of the companies I started was really on creating entrepreneurship as a true career pathway. And there is never being easier to start a business, it's never being cheaper. And it's like for the vast majority of people, like whenever you're in college is the best time to try new things, because one, your risk appetite, but also responsibilities are like your risk appetite is the highest will ever be, and your responsibilities are kind of like the lowest, right? So I think understanding that failing quickly and failing forward is like great like opportunities for experience, and that literally like someone can start a business and start like selling a product or a service in a matter of hours nowadays. So that's what I would say is like it's not this insane mountain. It's actually like very attainable, and you just have to think about it in steps.
Okay.
I know this one goes out for some of the engineers who are listening, but it's very often like a trouble with early startup founders that they fall in love with the product that they're building and not necessarily like the problem. And I know for me that was always something difficult to wrestle with, is that like actually what actually matters is building the right thing that's solving the problem. And I know if I could go back in time and be like, hey, listen, like this is what entrepreneurship is really about, I'd say that you really need to make sure that you're connecting with as many key opinion leaders as possible, people who can like support you, and additionally just like give real context to what the problem is and where there are gaps that need to be solved.
Yeah, so like that teamwork, community, like networking, relation, because not everyone's going to know everything. So I know who you guys are, but I know our listeners don't have a clue who you guys are or where you went. So I would love to touch a little bit more on both of y'all's backgrounds. One of y'all can start it off first and then bounce it back. But who are you? Where'd you go to college? What'd you major in? All this fun stuff, the juicy stuff.
Sweet. Feel like I'm back in freshman orientation. My background is in computer science and cybersecurity. Those were my majors at University of Tulsa. Sorry, what was the other part of the question?
Whatever you want to tell us about yourself. Like, what did you major in? Where'd you go? Who are you? Where'd you come from? Anything you want these listeners to know about?
Well, I grew up in Tulsa, and ultimately, I'd say that was an impactful part of my journey, particularly because the communities around Tulsa are so small but so powerful to the point to where I remember in my interview to come to Tulsa, I actually met with Kathy Taylor, one of the former mayors of Tulsa, and to the point to where she actually became a big supporter of mine throughout this journey. So it's interesting, but yeah, I think from Tulsa, and that's played a large part of who I am.
Yeah, I grew up really far away from Tulsa. So I was born and raised in São Paulo, Brazil, and I grew up in a small town in the state of São Paulo. And I actually initially came to Tulsa in a foreign exchange student program back in high school. So my junior year of high school, came with very broken English and without knowing a single person. And I'm super thankful for that experience. And I was supposed to be 1-year program, and I was supposed to be here for 1 year, and this was now 9 years ago. But yeah, so went to undergrad actually at Oral Roberts University, got an undergrad in finance. I started double majoring in psychology, but whenever I saw that I also was gonna have to basically do a whole other year of school, I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to skip that. So I took a few classes. I'm very passionate about the sphere of psychology, but really graduated from undergrad in finance at Oral Roberts, and then started alongside with, I was running another company called Sky Ventures at the time that I started in my senior year of undergrad, and then took a year that I was just working at, actually moved to New Zealand to go do a government contract for this other company, and ultimately decided to come back to Tulsa because Julian and I had started working together at Skin Check, and I decided to come back in 2023 to co-found Skin Check full-time, and then the University of Tulsa opened a ton of opportunities, and me as an international student, I ended up going to TU for my MBA, and I was also a grad assistant for the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So got my MBA in general business, but yeah, I had the opportunity to be involved in a lot of different initiatives across different colleges and everything.
Wow. So 2 different worlds, 2 different backgrounds. How did you guys come across one another? How did you guys meet?
That's a good question. So I remember we were in high school, and at the time I was working on building a Tesla coil, which is a device that transmits energy wirelessly through the air, and it's super cool. And
who's doing this in high school, by the
way? And then that was when Danny, who was a foreign exchange student, who was friends with my neighbors, basically just came. I think we were having a Christmas party or something, And
like Julian was almost like a mythic character.
Oh.
Because like, he was never available to hang out.
Oh,
he was
of
always
course.
busy. And his neighbor, who's our mutual friend, his name's Carlos. I would go hang out at his house like every weekend. Because I was living with a host family, and I would just like go hang out at his house most of the weekends. And then we actually like it was a weekend, and Julian had like 2 hours, so we like went across the street to go like bother him, and that was like you can continue the story from there. Yeah.
right, and so then this random kid walks in my room, and I'm like, hey, do you want to see something cool? So I'm showing him this device, and most people, when I like talked about it with them, they would either like not take much of an interest or just like didn't really know anything about it. But Danny was actually really into Nikola Tesla and Tesla coils, and so we were like, hey, this is really sick. And I remember thinking like, whoa, I've never met someone who actually like took an interest in this.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, who gets to see a Tesla coil every single day in front of them?
Exactly. And I remember I asked like, can it charge my phone? And then
Asking the important question.
exactly.
So, you guys started, once again, different backgrounds, came together in high school, 2 different colleges until you came to TU for your MBA. Where did this skin check program come from?
Right.
You got it, yeah.
Well, so my mom was battling skin cancer throughout my childhood, and growing up, I just really loved computer science. So I'd make like lots of like apps or games or stuff like that.
Like in middle school, like
Right.
building
Of
games.
course,
Yeah.
of course.
He would like downplay it, but it was continue.
And that was originally when my mom had a case of melanoma, and so I was working on, at the time actually it was nothing more than an AI to beat Flappy Bird. But whenever this skin cancer came back, I was like, all right, let me use it for something actually useful. And so then I had a prototype of what would become Skin Check. And this was around just before my senior year of high school. So then whenever I got back to school, I like shared it with my teachers, and one of whom actually had like noticed some like red spots on his arm. And so then he used the app, and turned out that it flagged like 3 cases of basal cell skin cancer.
Oh, wow.
He went to a dermatologist, and sure enough, it was. Yeah, and I remember being really happy that it had worked. And then went to university, to TU, ultimately thinking like, okay, this could make a real impact. So wanted to develop the research with like professors and mentors. And it was through TU's like undergraduate research challenge that
The Turk.
Yes, exactly. I first started actually pursuing this pretty seriously, and funnily enough, just after the research had gotten awarded and whatever, and like got some nice publications, I ran into my friend Danny again when we were at our mutual friend Carlos's birthday. We were just catching up.
Yeah, we owe a lot to Carlos. Honestly. Yeah.
No, I can pick up on it already. They're bringing you guys together.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Julian had been working on the research since high school, which I didn't even know like high school students were. And you got to remember, like this was like 2017, 2018. Nobody was talking about AI.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about computer vision. Like it was just not like a topic of like conversation, especially in high school. But then like we had become friends then, but then your freshman year of college was COVID. So I was actually back in Brazil for like almost a year because I mean like everything went virtual.
Yeah.
The world was going to end. So I was like, I have to be home. So I was home for that year, and we like reconnected in, I think it was January of 21 or something like that. Might be getting Carlos's birthday wrong, but then we reconnected, and he told me about all of the research that was happening, and my path was pretty different. My first job in college was a fellowship at a venture capital fund, so I was sourcing companies, and I was sourcing technologies that were being commercialized from like the Ivy League schools and from some other like schools across the U.S. And that's why I became like really passionate and saw like how attainable and possible it was to build truly scalable like companies and ventures while in college. And I remember talking to Julian in 2021, and like he had like was doing a lot of and that actually might have been 22, but had gotten success with the research, and I was like, okay, so like what are you gonna do about it? He was like, well, I just published it, and I'm like, so what are you gonna do about it? And that was like about like a semester after that. It was when I was starting Sky Ventures, which was the first student-focused incubator and venture fund in the state of Oklahoma, which I started with 2 other co-founders. And Julian had been working at SkinCheck. The research was quite along. He had just like won the research colloquium as a freshman against like PhD students, master students. He told me like in such a nonchalant way, and I was like, wait, what happened?
Well,
and
of course, over here, Mr. Man, programming all these things, making Tesla coils. Of course, he's going to beat all these people. Are you kidding?
Exactly. And then that was when I was like, hey, like I'm putting together this incubator where we're helping university students that have an idea, that have a technology, but want to take it a step further, that really want to take this like commercially, that really want to take it to market. And that was when I friendfully forced him to participate on the program. And that was when essentially we started informally working together, and then kind of there was a natural evolution for like building a team, starting the company that we can get into more as well.
Which I'll just add, one of the first times I was like, all right, you know what, this guy has actually got a lot to give, and you know, he's really quite intelligent, was when we were meeting at a coffee shop to talk about how we could make SkinCheck a real business. And Danny starts throwing out words I've never heard before, like revenue.
That was a word he had never heard before, which is, I was like, okay, we got a lot of work to do here.
Well, it's the business background of him,
Right.
of course.
Exactly. And so suddenly he's coming up with all these ways that we can actually make money. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool.
Well, yeah, you need some sort of like money out of all of this. You're putting all this time and research and energy into it. Of course, you got to profit off of it.
Right.
So both of y'all have had some sort of experience with the background of why you founded SkinCheck. So for those that haven't heard of it yet, can you break down like how they would use the app or how to go about it? Because I know some people aren't as technologically inclined as our current generation. So for those that aren't aware, how would you break it down for them?
Yeah. Okay. Well, in short, would say, SkinCheck is an app that can let you expedite your access to dermatological care. So you can like literally visit a dermatologist in less than 24 hours and get whether that's a prescription or an assessment on some kind of mole, or maybe a referral to an in-person clinic. You can do that immediately, and more importantly, you can track your skin health over time to watch how it's like growing and changing. If you notice any concerns for like maybe you're developing like an age spot, or you want to get like tretinoin or some other prescription, you can do that quite seamlessly. And then meanwhile, for frontline healthcare providers, so these are like nurses or primary care practitioners, we have created the world's first visual AI skin cancer detector that works for all skin tones, that enables them to immediately triage lesions and prioritize them, basically.
And that's the component of the business that is currently in research and development, and we're undergoing clinical studies and trials there. But an interesting piece to like answer the first part of your questions is like there's a lot, like actually about like 80% of our users are 45 and older.
Okay.
And the vast majority of our user bases are females, which we got really intentional about understanding what our users were actually looking for really early on. So there would be like weeks that either with our interns or our team members would be like, okay, you literally have to call your grandma, tell her to download the app, and ask her like what she can do with it, like if anything makes sense. Yes. And that is being like a constant like process and iteration that we have taking that approach to really make sure to how to bridge the gaps to our users, to our patients. Because nowadays a patient can get the app in the App Store. We see patients finding the app in a lot of different ways. Nowadays we have over 220,000 users globally, and that's being completely organic. We've never spent any dollars in marketing, but users come from a lot of different reasons. So like the vast majority is either a concern about a pigmented lesion, so like a mole or like a red spot or a bump. A lot of users are coming because they're tracking like chronic conditions, so atopic dermatitis, eczema. We have a lot of people that are using the app to now like track hair loss and other type of skin conditions. So a user downloads the app, usually will start tracking a condition that they're either concerned about or that they want to see if there's change or not. So we've built a full suite of self-evaluation features for that. And then in this past year have been really excited and have launched Skin Check Connect, which is the teledermatology service where individuals can get expert dermatology care in less than 24 hours. And we're now seeing a lot of users come directly to have access to the service. And then after that, use the app as a skin health companion to really monitor and see changes in their skin and so on.
No, that's amazing. Like really cool. So I'm going to target this questions towards you, Danny. So I've been to Brazil. I went there, I want to say 2 or 3 spring breaks ago on a trip with the biology of cancer class with Dr. Ali. And we went to a couple of the favelas out there. And I know that specifically in some regions of Brazil, they have a lot of sun. They don't know how to do skin protection. And I know they have issues with, again, the skin cancers out there.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if you've touched on this, but was that another reason as well as to why you were kind of wanting to join in on the project, was because of like the personal background you had to those?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the lived experience is a huge component on really becoming obsessed about a problem. And especially in healthcare, the hurdles and actually path to having like a successful like commercial product launch or like the compliance and regulatory components are so much more difficult than really any other industry that you need to be truly obsessed about the root of the issue, right? So growing up in Brazil and seeing like the barriers of access to care for like the broad population were really like a huge motivating factor, and now it's being really incredible. We just recently partnered with the largest academic health system in Latin America, which is in my state, and serves the vast majority of the population in the universal health system, which is essentially the public health system. And we're now like doing a partnership where we're being able to offer our technology in underserved areas, which is being really cool to see. Like one of the bigger like motivating factors and drivers for me, like really committing to join and like really taking a pivot in a career that was going well to like start a company from scratch. But yeah, like seeing that lived experience, but also like to be fair, like the access to care in the US is not that much better.
No,
and that was something that I didn't know until like we actually like started like working on this and like started work like, I mean, like we just spent like this last summer in Maine because we were doing received an investment from Northeastern University, and they have a campus up in Portland, Maine, and some of the dermatology clinics in their health system have a backlog of over 13 months.
Oh wow.
And that's like individuals that might have a lesion that's already like being flagged as concerning, or someone that has acne. So like seeing that really like showed us like how universal of a solution is needed. But yeah, like to answer your question, like seeing the big like differences, especially from like a socioeconomic class component in Brazil, and the barriers to access like any type of like healthcare or like clean water, all those things were a huge motivating factor to like building an impactful venture for sure.
Oh, I completely agree. So for those students who kind of want to get into more of like the entrepreneurship, they either want to go in like the health route, like how you guys went with it, or just entrepreneurship in general, what are some like tidbits you could give them? Because I know not everyone, especially from like underserved communities, have mentors that can help like motivate them or help them pursue these goals. So since you guys have the experience, what would you tell these like younger individuals?
Yeah, no, that's a great
I know it's a
question.
loaded question.
I can start too. Yeah,
Please.
I would say, in order as individual students,
They can be students, they can be anyone from the local community or even like globally.
yeah, I would say like being young and being a student is like an underrated superpower. Like everyone that has been successful, and even people that have not been successful, love to talk about themselves. And when you're a student and you approach either a physician or you approach an executive, and there's like dozens of ways that can be done nowadays. You can like get their LinkedIn, you can find their email, you can go to their office and say like, hey, I'm like really passionate about XYZ. I would love to ask you some questions. I'm either like looking to start a business in this area, or I'm doing like research in this specific like space. Like surprisingly, and I don't know if surprisingly or not, but most people will actually be willing to talk to you. Because like an anecdote that I like to come back to, like when I got to Tulsa, I literally didn't know anyone. And like our advisors, our like investors, our partners, like are all people that like we met and like that we developed a relationship because they could see our eagerness to like solve a problem, but also just like the spirit of curiosity and like why you're trying to get to the bottom of it. And like a lot of people are willing to like give their time. And yeah, I remember like in college, I got coffee with like dozens, if not like hundreds of professionals in like a bunch of different industries that I was like, oh, I might be interested in this. And then I have 3 conversations. I'm like, I'm definitely not interested in this, you know? So I would say that like starting early, like really like honing into like areas that you're curious about. It's, I think a tab that is really important.
Yeah, and I mean, totally echo that. Honestly, the only thing I'd add is just that, you know, for us, one of the most helpful pieces in our journey was the fact that we were able to talk to so many advisors and people who wanted to actually help us simply because we were like, hey, I'm doing this little research project, and I would really appreciate it if we could like borrow some of your time to just talk through some things. And those people actually ended up either becoming like mentors, or some of whom actually became like investors. And the connections that they were able to like bring to us, they were just so eager to actually see like the solution being like adopted, to the point to where some of our customers today are actually brought about by one of our greatest mentors. So,
And I know it's always a scary point to reach out and try to ask something new that you're unaware of or like not as educationally inclined to know stuff about. But I know once you get over that little hump, everything seemingly like works well.
Don't forget to give us a like and follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more episodes of our podcast.